If you are struggling with your forehand in disc golf, this is the episode for you. We're going to fix that on today's show. Let's get into it right now. Welcome in everybody to the Chain Clankers Disc Golf Podcast presented by Upper Park. In this episode, we want to let you know about the Upper Park Disc Golf Rebel Bag, the ultimate companion for disc golf rebels who defy limits and conquer the course. Designed with precision and built for durability, the Rebel Bag is a game changer in disc golf gear. With a spacious main compartment and specialized disc storage, it holds up to 24 discs, ensuring you have the right disc for every shot. But that's not all. The Rebel Bag features innovative features like quick access top pocket, perfect for storing essentials like your scorecard and phone. Plus, with multiple external pockets and a large beverage holder, you'll have all the space you need for snacks, water bottles, and more. Crafted with premium materials, the Rebel Bag offers unmatched comfort for ergonomic shoulder straps, a padded back panel, and keeping you comfortable even during those long, hot summer rounds. Don't settle for anything less than extraordinary. Unleash your inner rebel and make a statement on the course with Upper Park Disc Golf Bags. Visit upperparkdiscgolf.com today to discover the Rebel Bag and experience golf gear at its finest. Using promo code CLANKERS10, you can save yourself 10% and you can become a rebel on the course. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about forehands, and we're going to give you some, I think we got 8 tips on today's show. Yeah, it looks like 8 tips that we're going to talk about that is going to make you a better forehand disc golfer. The forehand shot is super critical to have because it allows your game to grow, and you can throw not just backhand turnovers, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're able to unlock a whole new side of disc golf. It doesn't matter if you're throwing it off the tee or if you're throwing it for an approach, or maybe you have to hit a gap. Maybe the forehand is even more accurate for you than your backhand. You just haven't unlocked that yet. Today, we are hoping to unlock that ability in your disc golf game. And let's start off with the number one thing I have on the list. The number one tip that you need to do to improve your forehand in disc golf is it all starts with the grip. By establishing a comfortable grip for a forehand throw, the most common grip is the power grip. This is where your thumb is on top of the disc and your fingers wrap around the rim. Experiment with different grips from the one that we just talked about to, maybe a fan or different kinds of grips like that. So, like I was saying, it's important to place that thumb on top of the disc. If you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, you can see it now on the screen. So your thumb is on top of the disc and you just have your 2 fingers, your middle finger and your index finger on the inside of the disc. I like to kind of call this pistols firing because you want to put your hand in the shape of a pistol and then you grab the disc. You put it in like that. And so you want that middle finger, you want that the face of your finger to be fully on the inside rim, and that top finger is really just for support. I don't really have it on there at all. It's really just that middle one, and then you've got support, and then the other 2, I don't really know what I do with these. I guess I kind of will maybe have them on the edge for stability, or I'll take them off. I think I take them off right there at the end. But like I said, you want to place that thumb on top of the disc, position your thumb on the flight plate of the disc near the center. The thumb is going to provide that extra stability and control during your throw, which I think is really important for forehands. You want to have that control and stability. And so the reason that the power grip is preferred for forehand is because it offers several advantages. The first one is that stability. The power grip allows for a secure and stable hold on the disc, minimizing the chances it slips out or rotating unexpectedly during the throw. Like if you think about a lot of that off-axis torque, the stability in the power grip is going to help overcome a lot of that, where you're not going to see that with some other grips. The second is power transfer. The grip's finger placement and thumb positioning optimizes the transfer of power from your arm to the disc. As you generate force during the throw, the power grip ensures efficient energy transfer, resulting in increased speed and distance. The third is snap and release. The grip facilitates the snap and release of the disc at the end of the throw. When executed correctly, the fingers provide that snap or kind of flick action as the disc is released, adding spin and generating extra distance. Because we know that that spin, that rotation, is key to getting extra distance. So if you want more distance on that forehand, you want to make sure you're getting that flick, that wrist snap, the finger snap. You want to hear it, because that generation of rotation, generating more rotations, is going to give you more distance. It's important to note that while the power grip is widely used, this grip preference can vary among players. Some individuals find variations of the power grip or alternative grips more comfortable or effective to their throwing style. Ultimately, finding the grip that is most natural and secure for you is going to be key. So experiment with the different grips, kind of find out what you like. I think that the best grip for you is that pistols firing, that power grip. I think that's the easiest way to have a forehand. Like, you can't, it's not like a backhand where you can put all 4 fingers on the rim. I don't think that is really doable or feasible, and you're gonna not have good accuracy, stability, those kinds of things. Let's move on to number 2 on the list of things you need to do to improve your forehand in disc golf: stance and body position. So you want to position yourself with shoulder width stance, perpendicular to the target with your non-dominant side facing forward. Keep your feet planted, balanced, and your body relaxed. Position your arms slightly away from your body to allow for a full range of motion. You don't want to close your off, but you don't want to be too wide open. If you want to be in that perpendicular line to the target, that's kind of the best way to describe it, because you're going to have a lot more power in your legs by being in that kind of position, which leads us to number 3, which is the arm motion. So you want to focus on smooth, fluid motion during your throw. So you're initiating the throw by pulling your arm back and keeping it close to your body. As you reach the peak of your backswing, pivot your hips and shoulders toward the target, transferring the weight from your back foot to your front foot. Accelerate your arm forward, generating power, and snap from your wrist at the release point. This kind of reminds me of, you want to use that elbow to lead. So your elbow is leading your throw. If your elbow is lacking, that's how you're gonna be rounding when you do a forehand. I think we think a lot of rounding just in a backhand sense, but if your elbow is non-existent and it's not involved in the throw, and you're not kind of driving with that elbow, then you are going to find yourself rounding, and you're going to see yourself on not the plane that you wanted, and maybe that's causing you to turn over a lot of your forehand disc. So if you're someone who is taking like a destroyer and you find yourself turning it over every single time, maybe it's because you're not necessarily leading with the elbow and you're actually rounding on your forehand throw. I know I've got a couple clips of myself throwing forehand where I can see that, and it gave me a new insight in something that I can work on in my forehand. The fourth thing that you need to make sure you're doing correctly to improve your forehand in disc golf is to follow through. A proper follow through is essential for maximizing distance and accuracy. After releasing the disc, continue your arm's motion across the body, pointing toward the target. Follow through will help you with accuracy, and it will provide that full release of energy. This is obviously very important. We talked about this on the backhands and in the form, is that follow through is critical to getting that full release of momentum and energy in toward the target. You always want to follow through toward the target. That's why they say pitchers in baseball, you want to follow through, boom, exactly where you're throwing. That's what you want to do in disc golf. If you're aiming for something on the right-hand side, but you're following through to the left-hand side of the fairway, your disc is probably going toward the left-hand side. No matter how stable it is, you're not going to be on your line. And I think this is also where a lot of people get mixed up on the idea that you need to finish up. And we've probably seen this on other videos where you're finishing up like you're serving the pizza. I don't necessarily think that's right, because you don't have nearly as much range of motion like that. You want that side to side because you have more range of motion in your wrist. So it's okay to roll over a little bit on your forehand. You just can't then turn palm down. you want that side-to-side wrist movement, but you want your palm to still be mainly up. It's when you do side-to-side and your palm finishes down facing the ground, that's when you're rolling over, which again could be another reason that your discs are going the wrong direction. It's not going on your intended line and you're off axis. So that's something that you really, really want to make sure you're focusing in on for your forehands. The fifth thing is practice drills. Incorporate drills into your practice routine to refine your forehand technique. Some useful drills include grip practice, throwing with reduced power, focusing on accuracy, and working on different release angles. Regularly practicing these drills will help you develop consistency and improve your overall performance. And so you might be wondering, what are some quick drills that I can do right now that is going to lead to a lot of success in my forehand? And the key to achieving quick success and improving your forehand throw in disc golf is actually putting the time in and doing it. It's not something you can do once and all of a sudden you're a better disc golfer. You have to continue to work at it. So here's the first drill that you can do. The first one is one disc accuracy. Choose a target at a moderate distance and throw with only one disc repeatedly. Focus on throwing accurately and hitting the target consistently. This drill will help refine your release, aim, and control. The reason that we're saying one disc here, and it can be one mold, let's say you have 5 onyxes. Okay, you're going to throw just those onyxes because that's going to give you more data on speed you need, power you need, angle control, all these different kinds of things. And when you're doing that with the one disc, you're learning that disc a lot quicker and you can then trust that in your disc golf bag. The second drill is approach shot. So practice your forehand approach shot from various distances to work on consistency and touch. Set up different targets at different distances and practice hitting them with controlled throws. This drill improves your ability to control the disc's flight path and land close to the target. Going on that a little bit further, I think a good one is you can set up the basket at, let's say, 50 feet, 100 feet, and 150 feet. And you can go from, okay, I'm throwing stock forehand hyzers to each one. Now I need to throw it straight. Now I need to throw anhyzers. And just kind of mix that up, because if you do 3, 3, 3 on each, that's 9, 18, 27 shots. That's enough. You can get that done in 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe. And that allows you to work on all different kinds of throws, because you're working on the hyzer, you're working on the anhyzer, you're working on the straight shot, you're working in a distance where you need to be really controlled. You're not putting a whole lot on it. Okay, now you're putting a little bit more on it. And maybe at that 150s, you're reaching your max that you can do for a forehand, or you're really having to hammer on it. So you then get access to how do you control that forehand at a higher distance. And if you want to keep going, you can. You can go on to, I would then go, we said 150, so 200, 250. I would continue to go out every 50 feet until you're comfortable with it. And that can be a cone, that can be a basket out there. It doesn't matter what. It can literally be trees. And I think it's also important to, if you're going to, maybe you want to do more than just those 27 throws, okay, well now you need to position your body differently as well as working on different release angles. So you're not, I think it gives you more data and consistency when you kind of move around instead of doing the exact same shot every single time. It's also important to note that if you have a basket out there, you don't want to try to make it in the basket. We've talked about this on the podcast before, that it's important to have that little circle that you want to land in that you know you're comfortable putting. So if your circle is 5 feet, your goal is to get that forehand throw 5 feet away from the basket or the target, whatever it is. 10 feet, 15 feet, whatever your comfort circle is that you know you're knocking that putt down. That's how you want to focus your approach shots. That's how you're going to get more accurate. That's how you're going to improve your control, by focusing on that zone around whatever target. And then you can count it. So let's say we'll continue with the 27 shots. You have 27 shots. How many of those landed inside your circle? How many didn't? Those that did not, try to understand why, what you did wrong, and then you can go back to the drawing board and do it. And maybe you continue to work on it until every single one is in the circle. The third drill that you can work on is the form practice. So take some throws focusing solely on your form and technique. Slow these throws down, and pay attention to every aspect of your motion from the grip to the follow through. This drill allows you to isolate and correct any flaws in your technique. This would be perfect in front of a net, and you're not caring about distance, and you're literally just working on getting that muscle memory, getting that forehand motion down. If you have a net or anything you can kind of throw into that you're not then having to go chase your disc every time, I think this is great. It's also good because I think when you're in the field sometimes and you see, wow, I really only threw that forehand 75 feet, that is not good. I need to do something different because I need to max out every single time I'm out there. That's bad. You don't want to be maxing out every single time you're in the field. And I make that mistake also. I'm like, the only thing I'm worried about is getting more distance. You really got to make sure you go to the field with the intention of improving your form. So if there's a net or something you can throw into, I think that will help a lot. Now we're on to the fourth drill. It's called line drill. So set up a line of markers or objects at increasing distances from your throwing position. Start with shorter throws and gradually work your way up to longer distance. That's kind of what we talked about with the second one, the approach shots, but this can, really be out there. This can be your 300, 350, 400. Like, these are your drives. I'd say that's different from number 2 because you're actually working on drives. You're not just working on your approaches. And this can also be something where you take that line and it's like, okay, I'm going to throw this forehand and I want it to land on the line, however far down it is. Now I want it to land on the right side of the line. I want it to land on the left side of the line. So you're working on different landing spots and maybe not necessarily working on distance. It's just this is your drive instead of your approach. So I think this is a good one as well for that accuracy aspect. The fifth is field work. We've kind of talked about this. Find that open field or the disc golf course and practice your forehand throws with a variety of discs and shot types. Experiment with different angles, release points, and power levels. This allows you to simulate on-course situations if you have to do it on the course, but it also just allows you to develop that versatility in your forehand game. The last one, video analysis. Record your forehand throws, review them, analyze them, and look for those flaws and areas of improvement. And that, I think, out of these drills, it's important to know that you want to remember that consistency and repetition are crucial for improvement. Dedicate regular practice sessions specifically for your forehand throw, gradually increasing the difficulty and challenge as you progress. That's important. Just because you got it today and you got it tomorrow and you got it this week and next week, you got to make sure you continue to challenge yourself, because if you're not challenging yourself and trying to improve, you could get stagnant and you're right back in the same position of, why can I only throw a forehand 250 feet? Well, you're not challenging yourself to throw it 300 feet. Additionally, seek guidance from experienced players or disc golf coaches, our podcast, those kinds of things, our TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you're over on TikTok if you've got it. Chain Clankers Disc Golf. We're approaching 2,000 followers. That's awesome. Tap in over there because we're going to be doing a lot more instructional content and kind of talking through and seeing things on live video. So if you're someone who has to see it on the video, the podcast is good and you like what we're doing here, check us out on TikTok and Instagram because we're going to start doing a lot more clips and putting voiceover, and hopefully that will help. So let's move on now. So to recap, so far we've talked about grip, we've talked about stance and body position, arm motion, follow through, and practice drills. We're 5/8 of the way there on things you need to improve to make yourself have a better forehand in disc golf. If you're liking today's podcast, pretty please give me a subscribe, give me a like, let me know, give me a rating and review on Spotify and Apple. It lets us know what you're thinking of the show. DM us on Instagram and let us know what your thoughts are if you're continuing to like this content. Remember, your guys' feedback is awesome. We've gotten some really good DMs lately. Maybe I'll ask those people if I can read them on the podcast because I would love to do that. I just want to make sure I can get permission. So DM me. Let me know what your thoughts are. Is this helping your forehand? What's your progress? And let me know if I can read it on the podcast. I would love to start doing those things. So the 6th on the list is disc selection. Experiment with different discs. Find ones that suit your throwing style to provide optimal results. Generally, discs with flat profiles and stable flight path. Moderate speeds are good choices for forehand throws. And so I've got a list of discs that I think will help. So the first one is we're going to talk about your overstable fairway drivers. Overstable fairway drivers such as the Innova Firebird, Discraft Onyx are popular choices for forehand shots. These discs have a predictable fade at the end of the flight, which helps them resist turning over during the forehand throw. They are useful for controlled drives and approaches, especially in situations where you need to shape your shot around obstacles. Like if you have to get around a tree, but you still need to finish right if you're a right-hand thrower, but you can't do that, then you can throw that kind of touchy forehand turnover that then is always going to fade back and you're going to hit your intended target. One that I honestly love doing it with is the tilt, because you can literally throw it vertically through a tight gap, and because it's overstable, it's gonna flip back and heavily fade. So yeah, love that. Distance drivers with moderate stability. So we're not saying go and grab the most overstable discs out there, or understable discs, I guess, here for your drivers. So the Destroyer and Force, those offer a lot of stability, and I think that might be a little bit much. Now, if you've got a lot of power, a lot of torque, those kinds of things, then sure, you can pick those up. But I think the Grace is a fantastic option for a lot of people getting into forehands if you want a distance driver, because it has a little bit of turn, so it's going to come back with the added fade to it, but you can get more distance because it's going to turn slightly. It's got a ton of glide. I think it's a 6 for its rating on glide, so you're going to get a lot, and it's an 11 speed, so it's a little bit easier to throw. The Wraith is another one. It's a little bit more on the overstable side than a Grace, but I highly recommend a Grace for a distance driver that you want to start forehanding. Mids. Certain mid-range discs like the Verdict or the Buzz OS are going to work really well. These discs offer stability and control at shorter distances and are useful for approach shots, hyzer lines, and navigating those tight fairways. And then putters. You can try out the AVR or the Discraft Challenger. They're good choices for touch shots and short forehand throws. If you really want to get into that approach shot, the Harp, Zone... What do I use? Savior is really good. I think those three are really good options. Tactic, that's what the Discmania guys and gals are throwing. Definitely look into those. I mean, it's literally called an approach shot, and a lot of people use them on forehands to approach. I mean, I use a Savior. It's pretty much a zone. So highly recommend checking those out. And it's important to note that the disc selection can vary based on individuals. So use a bunch of different discs if you got them. If you throw a zone and your buddy has a tactic, be like, hey, can I try your tactic out? And that way you kind of get that knowledge without having to buy a tactic. But it's just kind of always continuing to look at your bag and do you like the discs you have? Are they the best for you? Those kinds of things. Number 7 on the list is physical conditioning. Strengthening your core, shoulders, and forearm muscles can significantly enhance your forehand throw. Incorporate exercises like shoulder presses, wrist curls, forearm exercises, and rotational core workouts into your fitness routine to improve your throwing power and stability. This is big. Obviously, shoulder presses are really good. Love me some good wrist curls. I can't stress enough that if you want to get good at disc golf, your physical conditioning is going to be a part of it. You can play disc golf looking however you want, being in whatever shape you want. But if you want to improve your forehand or any aspect of your disc golf game, obviously being more athletic, being more in shape, being stronger, faster, blah, 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 you're going to have more success. The 8th and final tip to improve your forehand in disc golf is video analysis and feedback. Record your throws and analyze them to identify areas of improvement. Compare your technique to that of experienced players and seek feedback from those you are playing with. Ask your buddy, hey, what'd you think about that forehand? I thought it looked really good. What'd you think? It's okay, even if they're not a disc golf coach. Maybe they saw something that you've never seen on film, and you can then look for that on your film. Hey, ask your friends to film your shots. That's something that I struggle with. I always get the people I'm playing with, but I never get myself, and so then I clown them, it seems like, on Instagram and Facebook, but it's just because I don't have any clips of me. So I need to be better at getting clips of me, asking people to record me, so that way I can look back at my own film and make sure that I'm improving the way I want to. Remember, at the end of this podcast, if you've enjoyed these 8 tips, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what your thoughts are. We are highly appreciative of you sitting here with us. And I want to leave you with this, that consistent practice and patience are key to improving your forehand throw. Focus on that technique, build that strength, and gradually increase your power and accuracy. Over time, you'll see noticeable improvements in your disc golf game. And that is why you should subscribe to the Chain Clankers Disc Golf Podcast. We want to see that improvement of your game over time. This is the #1 podcast to improve your disc golf game. If you're looking to become a better disc golfer, you've found the right place. Hit that subscribe button today. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Chain Clankers Disc Golf, and we will see you guys next week.